Okay. Just real quick, who are you?
I am Hitler incarnate, here to rain holy hellfire down on anyone watching this video. You can cut that. Hi, Zesty Jesus, YouTube TF2 guy extraordinaire. Yeah,
Cool.
that's the best. That's the best way I can
that was
define
that was
myself. I
great.
don't know what else to say.
That was great. Question two is, what do you think of Capture the Flag, just generally?
I think generally it's a really fun game mode. It's somewhat map dependent. I think a lot of the older Capture the Flag maps are a bit more entertaining than newer ones tend to be. Newer ones tend to be really big and really open and spread players too thin. But older maps like, say, Two Fort or Double Cross, those keep players relatively close enough to where it's a much more engaging game mode than it otherwise would be on something like, oh, I don't know, um, God, what's that awful one they added in Winter a few years ago that's just absolutely massive? Or actually, no, one they added just for the summer update, Pressure. It's just so massive, and it's this big spaghetti bowl. It spreads players too thin. It's just not a good way to play the game. But generally, the game mode's fun. I like it.
What do you think is fun about the game mode? Like, what is the game mode's biggest strength?
Give me a second. Let me think. I think it's a game mode where every class has its purpose. Like it, and that's not so dependent on the map. And you have very clear roles set in the game mode where you have offense classes going for intel, defense classes defending intel, and support classes either defending intel or infiltrating to go support the offense classes going to get the intel, that kind of thing. I think that's Capture the Flag's biggest strength, and but also it doesn't strictly like that. That's something else too that Team Fortress 2 is heavily built upon, is that Capture the Flag really only needs one person in order to play it. In that you don't need strict team coordination in order to succeed at the game mode, because again, TF2 is designed with the notion in mind that players can all go off and do their own thing, and as they're doing that, they're effectively indirectly contributing towards the overall team play. And Capture the Flag greatly leans into that in comparison to something that's more heavily team oriented, like, say, Payload. Payload is much more heavily team oriented, where one player alone can't have too much of an impact. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I tend to agree. What do you think is Capture the Flag's biggest weakness?
Hmm. It is really subject to steamrolls. That's the big one, and that's been greatly. And I have to do it. I'm sorry. It's greatly exacerbated by casual modes, round limits, where if there's a pretty significant skill discrepancy, the game's going to be over in 2 minutes, and then the server resets and boots everyone out. It's really a game mode that works the best with long map timers and team scrambles, because if one team does too well, they capture the flag 3 times in like 5 minutes, and then the game is over. But it would be so much better if there wasn't a round limit where you could just keep playing it over and over and over again indefinitely, because that's when Capture the Flag is the most fun, where the games last a longer period of time and people are on the grind. On the flip side to that, it's also heavily subject to stalemates, but I personally find those really fun because in my mind, there's nothing more entertaining than breaking a stalemate that lasted 20 fucking minutes just to get the intel. That's also one big reason why I love Capture the Flag, is because these games can turn into a fucking meat grinder where people are throwing themselves at the intel, and it's in order to break like a stalemate that's been with like 50 fucking engineers. It's so fucking fun. I love doing that. But it's in a way actually similarly flawed to Five Control Point, where Five Control Point is subject to the same issues, where games can end in 2 minutes thanks to a significant enough skill discrepancy, or games can last 2 hours because of an awful stalemate. And both of those game modes greatly suffer from having a round limit instead of an extended map timer with team scrambles and auto scrambles and what have you. So definitely the short duration of your typical game is the biggest downside.
Okay, and then the last question, you might notice there was five. I split the third question into two. Um, the last question is, why do you think people like it so much?
I think I mean, every game mode in TF2 is pretty easy to understand. It's either stand here, push here, or get this. I think that's one good factor to make a TF2 map or TF2 game mode good is it being inherently simple. Like, okay, capture the flag, go get flag, bring it back. Why do people like it so much? Capture the flag has a long history in multiplayer games in general. Like, it's been around for decades, so it has historical appeal. People know about it and understand it. God, what else? For TF2, there's the now a long extended nostalgia element with you know, 2 Fort being one of the original launch maps, and a lot of people look at it through uh, a much more favorable lens in light of what's been added in recent years, and people just like playing on the map. It's also like the noob map, one of the first maps many people play. That's one reason people have like an extended adoration for the game mode. What else?
What do you think of the?
Again,
Oh, I was
go
gonna.
ahead.
I was gonna ask, what do you think of the game's appeal, like to new players versus experienced ones? Because typically, experienced players don't really like capture the flag as much as newer players do.
Yeah, I think. How do you explain that?
That's kind of what the video is about. But I was curious what you would say in response.
Think about that one too. I don't know how to answer that. This is tricky. I can't think of a reason why experienced players would be more drawn towards. Because I mean, I find myself having done the exact same thing where I rarely play capture the flag anymore, but I don't really have a reason why. Why have I gone away from it? I think the reason I can give is I think experienced players are looking for a little bit more pressure, and having a timer as you play that's kind of urging people to move along in order to kind of go for the objective.
Mm.
That helps the game become more interesting instead of typical capture the flag, which can just go on indefinitely. I don't even know if it has. Does it have a timer in casual mode? I don't even know if Valve added that. I think it just has a best of 3.
I'm pretty sure
Because
it's
I
just
haven't
best
played.
of 3. I don't think there's a time.
I haven't touched capture the flag in casual mode since they fucking put casual mode in the game. Um, but yeah, I think experienced players are less drawn towards capture the flag because I would say capture the flag is probably the most laid back game mode. That's also one of the reasons why it's very appealing to new players. The pacing can be much more approachable to newer players, where they're given a lot more time to get in, learn the mechanics, move around, shoot things, and that's way less appealing to a newer player because they want a much more engaging experience instead of an environment where a lot of people are just kind of figuring things out. Unless you just like pub stomping, which I'm sure some people still do for capture the flag. We just go into a random 2 Fort server and absolutely destroy everybody.